live now. As usual, I hope the music isn't too loud for you guys. I'll try to keep it at a minimum. Cool. Okay. Let me just post a link so that people actually come in. See if anyone wants to watch in with me. I guess we'll just hop into some shit, see what's going on in the markets in the past few days or so. It's been kind of chip-choppy since Friday. Some alts have moved, but there's hasn't been anything too drastic. Let's pull up the heat map real quick while people get settled in. If anyone, as usual, has any questions or wants me to elaborate on anything, just let me know. I can dive into whatever topic you guys want. There's nothing really orchestrated here. I'm just kind of hopping in, going through my watch list, explaining why I like things and, you know, how I play things the way that I do. But just taking a quick look at Bitcoin, it really hasn't done very much since a few days ago anyway. It's just kind of been chopping up and down. You can see it's in this range basically. It just keeps playing it over and over. I guess you could call it there, even down there. Yeah, so you can just see, you could honestly just trade this back and forth, you know, sell up here, buy down here, rinse and repeat over and over. Or if you're a pleb, you can buy up here, sell down here. But hopefully you guys aren't doing that. Nothing really going on with open interest. It's kind of just going sideways. Yeah, so I think the fun will begin once we get out of this mini range that we've been in for the past few days. Order book wise, if you guys don't know, these yellow like boxes, I guess you could call them, are bids, and up here it shows you how big they are. I could bring it to 0 and it'll show me every single bid. Obviously that's impossible to read, so I just kind of leave it where the big orders are, with the high hundred thousands to the millions of dollars. But yeah, you can see there's basically, it's just kind of getting walked up and down, but there's no massive orders anymore. There are the ones down here that were removed, and the ones over here that were removed, and these ones over here were bought into, but there's really nothing too crazy. And next ones we see are all the way up at 10.5, so kind of have a feeling that we're gonna get up there at some point. They're not usually set there without. Okay, cool, you're in. Yeah, they don't usually get set up this high for no apparent reason, or it could just be a facade because they know people will look at the order books and will be like, oh well, we're gonna reach there at some point, exactly like we're doing, and then just tank it. But there's nothing really to hold us, at least for now, down until 8.8. But they could appear at any time, like they do. So. I'm not sure about you guys, but the temperature here is hot as hell. It's like, I think my car said it was like 35 to 38 degrees Celsius, which is pretty damn hot. So I had to grab myself a beer, enjoy the evening, and go through some stuff with you. So I guess I'll dive right into it. Like, other than Bitcoin, there's nothing really going on with it. Like I said, it's in this range until it breaks out and does something. Obviously, we're just gonna keep going sideways and sideways. I know a lot of my friends that, you know, study Wyckoff and distribution and accumulation. They all think that this is just a big game of distribution, and we're going to be headed down in the near future. Honestly, I'm not really sure. The picture does look quite perfect, but at the same time, with crypto, it could just be like they could just be painting this to get people to think that it's distribution, and then wreck all these people who are, are short at these levels. They'll just blast through and, go up to new highs, or we'll head back down. But regardless, I'm fine with either way. If we go lower, I can accumulate more Bitcoin. If we go higher, well, I'll just sell the holdings I have on the way up and compound like we do. So, yeah, it doesn't really matter. I just don't like the sideways action. Like you guys probably know, it's really hard to trade these futures coins because some of them move well, but a lot of them just kind of go sideways while Bitcoin goes sideways, at least recently, which is kind of frustrating. I'm hoping that dominance can fall and let the alts breathe a bit. I forgot, I'm gonna send the link over to Dimitri, see if that bugger's gonna tune in and bother me. Okay. So I don't know where you guys want me to start. I guess I'll just kind of glance at these futures coins, the biggest movers for today. Yeah, ONT was kind of sporadic. You could have drawn this trend line here. Yeah, it's not perfect. I could just fix that up a bit. So you could have easily just bought the breakout and retest and you'd be up. Could have made up to 6% or so. Yeah, 6.5%, so that'd have been a simple trade. I'm assuming it's going to do a nice little pullback this SR level right here, just because it retested here once, retested here twice. You can just see prices respected this level previous times, and that's where the 4-hour MAs are as well. So that'd be a potential entry zone, I think, right here. But for it's a no play zone for me. I'd just be looking to sell and buying this dip if or when it comes. VET, I can just kind of delete this for you guys. Pretty straightforward to chart. It's a nice clean uptrend. Just set some horizontal levels really quickly. Yeah, that daily open would have been a nice, or still could be a nice re-entry zone if it comes. I don't think we'll get back to this point, but even if we were, let's use the replay button, even if we were down here, it would have been extremely easy we would have noted this high right here. We could have just waited for it to break above and then bid the retest like we usually do, and we would have made some decent money. And obviously I marked this part because it was the recent high. I like to mark the recent highs because that is clearly a level that's been resistance previously, so it'll likely be resistance again, and then once flipped it'll be support. And yeah, if you bid that retest, you would have made a couple percent quite easily. So it's already on the way up. You could rebid this recent high that we smashed through on the 4-hour. I'm not sure it's going to come back for a retest. That's been beasting quite a lot. Damn. The easiest thing you could have done is just long the big drop we had back in March. I remember vividly, I've told some of the other guys who've watched this before, that and I even messaged the group, I was landing on the tarmac coming back from my vacation during this wick. I shit you not. Well, on ETH, it was Ethereum. I shit you not. It was in the 90s during this wick, and I was like, holy shit. And I left when it was at its peak, which was the weirdest thing ever. But so I bought ETH right on that wick, right when I got services again on the tarmac, and I should have just left that position alone. I would have made some great money. Just pick that point for reference. I'd be up 167%. Yeah, I'll turn the music down. No problem. Sorry. Hopefully that's okay. Yeah, obviously hindsight, you always wish that you could have held on to positions like that. Obviously it was extremely intimidating because you dropped so far and there was no real support, in sight. So yeah, it's a bit of a shame, but we've reclaimed all these daily MAs, which is super important. We actually did so quite a while back. It would have been easy just to buy this initial reclaim here at 135 and rode it up, and we've had multiple opportunities, and people are screaming hindsight is the best. Yeah, no, hindsight is a pain in the ass, but you learn. I think there's a lot of lessons to be learned from reviewing your hindsight. Don't be harsh on yourself, and don't, be upset with yourself for missing these opportunities, because that's obviously unhealthy. You want to find the next opportunities and, use these experiences, I guess, to make your future decisions. So yeah. ETH for now I think looks perfectly fine. I don't know. Until we start losing some levels, I'm not going to be overly bearish. Kind of looks like a bit of a triangle here that's building on the daily. It would be actually interesting to see if we can flip this. You could even buy the retest once we flip it, and that could be a potential entry. Or if we lose this trend line that we drew, seeing that we've respected it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times. If we lose that, close below and retest it, that would be an easy short opportunity, at least start scaling into a short. But for now, like, everything's perfectly fine. I don't know why everyone's screaming, oh, bear, bear, bear. Like, you have no real proof that we're going down. You just want to be the person that calls the top. So that can be a little frustrating, but yeah. ETH and BTC to be in a range. Like, it depends on how alts react when it goes sideways. As you can see, I guess Binance coins are doing all right. There's nothing mind-blowing right now, but we'll see what happens. There's so many primed alts that I'm hoping at least that they can just see some continuation, whether it be for a few weeks, months, long term. That'd be phenomenal. I don't know how smooth of a ride it's going to be, but we know what we're looking for, and we've done really well so far. So I'm hoping that we can keep making more money. It's obviously the name of the game. So like I said, there's no real action right now. I don't know, I do like ETH long term, but if you want to scale in, I'd wait for the breakout and retest. Sorry, that's really crappily drawn, but just breakout and retest of this previous high we had here. You could target this high here, or if you want to be really conservative, you could do the next high above, which would be this one. Even just set those as two, short-term targets. That's a quick, about 10% or so. It's pretty solid. If you even have like 5x leverage, or even no leverage, 10% is pretty significant. But yeah, so I think that's, yeah, ETH 2 digits. I don't know if we'll see that. I don't know. I have no idea what's in store for the crypto world. It's like, I don't know. I don't know who controls it. I don't know what their plans are. Like, it could honestly go so many different ways, but I'm just gonna keep riding the trend, wherever we go. And the lower we go, the more I should buy. Like, I bought down here. I was like, you know what, screw it. ETH is in 2 digits down here. It might even go lower, but I'm at least gonna start averaging in. I held some of it, but I started selling once we started moving, which was probably the most stupid thing I could have done. You want to compound on your positions, not kind of just like run away, which is something I even need to work on. Like with Zill, I'll pull up right now. Oh, fuck off. Okay, Zill would have been a phenomenal one. Like, look at this. This is the cleanest shit. I couldn't even make this up if I wanted to. Like, fuck, it upsets me a little, but I think we were about here back in April. Had my eye on Zill. Noticed, and I've talked about this on stream before. I don't want to dive into it too much, just for people who have seen me go over it already. But I'll make it nice and brief. You can see Zill kind of found this bottom here, and was respecting it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. I consider this a stop hunt just because it did go down there once, but it's bought up quite quickly. Could have just been someone capitulating, could have been someone trying to just run it deeper, but ever since it reclaimed, it never went lower than that again. And it did that for, well, at that point, 250 days, and you consider that a range. You can obviously consider that a range, just because it respected this level for so long, and it respected this level up here multiple times, and over the course of that period of time, especially so bottomed out, you can, I think you can safely assume, especially with the volume, you can assume it's just getting bought up over a period of time. The 90-day consolidation, I think more like 300. There's so many that are like at like the 300 mark now, like even some that are like approaching that like 1 year exactly point. But anyway, just to go over Zill and why we should have kind of held on to it, just because, you know, it fell for so goddamn long. The daily MAs look like crap. They're all spread out. They look like shit. You want them curled underneath us. But we should have just set bids right at this green zone here. When Price respected it so many times before, if you just set a bid at that point again, which we did and got filled, you know, we should have just held on to it for the bigger run. What's up, Brian? Okay, yeah. Hopefully a few of you are in here. If you have any questions, just let me know. I'm just kind of going over Zill right now and why we should have kept compounding on this position and why it was, you know, some easy money. And we did hold on to it for a bit, but when something's accumulated for an entire year, whales aren't going to distribute it like after, you know, a measly 10, 20, 30, 40%. They want big numbers. Like, they want it to go high. Like this one we bought here at 50, what was it, 57. My initial target was range high, which it hit. We sold from 57 to 87, so that was a nice 53% for the group. That made us all happy. But we should have kept compounding. Once we closed above, we should have bought the retest, and then once we closed above, should have bought the retest. Just continuously do it over and over again, each SR level that we flip, because there's one here. This one I guess is kind of iffy. I'd rather move that up here actually. Once we flip here, I'd buy the flip of it, and up here I'd buy the flip of it, and just keep doing that on the way up. And if we did that, I'll just let it play out. That's a little slow, but I'll just let it do its thing anyway. So as you see this thing move up and these daily MAs curled underneath us, which is exactly what we want, we should have just kept compounding on this, just especially with the volume and how quickly it was moving up. Just keep buying these SR flips when they come, and if you lose it, sure, you can exit, but once it reclaims again, you buy more. You flip, reclaim, flip, reclaim, it just keeps going up and up and up and up. Like, it's as easy as that. I know Dimitri was actually showing me too in the lower time frame. Let's see if I can find them. He was showing me that there was just a bunch of triangles that you could have played for easy buy opportunities. I'm just gonna sporadically draw them here. I don't know how perfect they are, but if you bought the breakout of any of these triangles on the way up, this is kind of ugly. I don't know what the fuck this is, but could have bought this triangle breakout. Literally just do that over and over again. I don't know. There's probably some fucking triangle here somehow, but if you just bought the breakout of the triangle, you would have just and held on. You would literally just would have made even more money. So SR flips and triangle breakouts, literally the easiest thing. So okay, so I think that covers Zill pretty good. I don't know where this fucker's going now. It's a little too pumped for me. I'm gonna be looking for ones. It's hitting the 3-day 200 EMA actually quite cleanly, so that's something to take note of. Maybe if we flip that, I'll do even some more crazy upside. But if you're in position on Zill, I would consider selling a significant amount, just because there's so many that have been ranging for so long that could easily, you know, just follow Zill's path. That's what I'm looking for now anyway, if that wasn't clear. I'm trying to find the next Zill, and there's a handful of candidates which I've kind of shared with you guys. Yeah, that's it for now. So it covers Zill. I'll go into Raven just because someone's asking me about Raven. Yeah, this fucker's pretty intense, eh? I posted the other day, but I always look at this 3-day chart and just see where we are relative to the high. Like, the high was at 1700 sats and we're down at 200. We're at, let's zoom in just a little bit. So what's initially caught my eye, you know, the daily, oh, I just got another on GVT. What I don't really like are these daily MAs. That's the one turn off, just because they're so spread out. I like them to be curled underneath. Raven might see a bit of a accumulation, a bit more of an accumulation period, where it goes sideways and lets these reset. I'd prefer if they just start busting through. But the real, like, one of the reasons why I think it's bottomed is one, the 4-hour MAs. Are starting to get flipped. We've flipped most of them except this 200, like the 200-day, 4-hour 200 EMA. Sorry, we seem to be struggling with. Let's just get my normal chart back, actually. Fucking Jesus. Okay, so get this 4-hour chart back. Initially we had this massive falling wedge. Which other? Okay, I'll go over those in a bit. Someone's asking, what coin do I think will follow Zill's path? I'll go over a couple of the candidates. They're on my watch list. I'll go through as much as I can. But Raven, to start with, I think. Oh, I was hoping anyway. It had this massive falling wedge we were watching for quite a while. Let me just draw to highlight it. So we had this falling wedge, bang, 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 and then it decided to break out, retest, but then it did not continue on. It's kind of just hung out here by the bottom of the wedge. The volume's been somewhat mediocre, but we zoom into the 4-hour. I'm assuming this is our low. I kind of marked it here in the blue. We had this bottom here, which was also the bottom of the wedge we had drawn. We had the wick that I drew a circle here, which was the bottom was respected again. So I'm kind of considering this like the almighty entry zone. Obviously, unless we keep falling. It's kind of disappointing that Raven didn't hold this 200 EMA. I mentioned that I don't want it to lose this green box here below 211, just because if you look closely, the 4-hour MAs are right here. I don't want them to lose that, just because when we do that, there's a decent likelihood that we'll go back to our magic blue box, which was the previous bottom. So we'll see what happens. It was promising earlier today, looking less promising now, but we'll see what happens over the course of the next few days. I'm not giving up on it yet. So what else? And then no, I think that covers the gist of it. I always go over the targets and stuff like that, which are just simple SR points, but the main point is just finding the best, or I guess the best entry for us without giving up, too much of our portfolio in downside. So yeah, we'll see what happens. I'm becoming a little skeptical of this position, but I'm going to ride it out, see what happens. Once we lose 211 on the 4-hour higher, I'll look to cut it. There's so many opportunities right now that I don't think it's worth having something that's only, mediocre, right? So I think that covers Raven quite well, but the upside is pretty intense. I'm just kind of hoping maybe it'll reset for a bit and then start moving up. I'm willing to be patient with it, but especially with this challenge I'm doing, I'm not really trying to pick ones that are gonna take a while. I'm trying to hop onto ones that are like, okay, they're gonna move the next day or two based on my TA. Alright, so that covers Zill. I'm gonna, I guess, go over my watch list. I just got an alert on GVT a second ago. This actually is one that I think could somewhat follow Zill. A lot of them look quite similar. You can see I always like to zoom out quite a lot for those who haven't watched me, chart before. I always start on the daily. I zoom out quite far so I can see a lot of price history, see what's been going on. I see a lot of people that are like, just looking at a chart like this and like, sure, you can kind of get a rough idea of what price is doing, but on the grand scheme, like, where are your targets? Like, how long has it been going sideways for? Sure, the MAs look okay, but like, how long have they been resetting for? You always just want to get the bigger picture, right? So I like to zoom all the way out, see what's been going on. You can kind of see this thing has been going sideways for the good course of, well, since August, so a good chunk of a year as usual. So I'm gonna set some horizontal levels real quick. Just right here, because price was respected as support here, and then once reclaimed here, it moved up. I ignore this just because I consider this a deviation. And let's mark the top of our zone, which would be right here, just because it's been respected as resistance so many times. Bang, bang, bang. I don't think I need to overdo it with the hammers. I think you guys get the gist of it. It's been going sideways for a long time. It's always good to check and see how long it's been going sideways for. So as usual, about 300 days. I feel like I'm talking a million miles a minute, but I'm trying to get through as much as I can. Hopefully this is good for you guys. So anyway, yeah, you can see this one's been going sideways for about 300 days so far. It's been respecting this range. Daily MAs, you can see like there's these two here, this one here, this one here. Like you can see them pretty clearly. They're all spread out, and we don't want them when they're spread out, especially when they're above price. That's like a big no-no. I would have ignored this, ignored this, and the only time I'm considering buying is literally right now, because they were above us as resistance for so long. Even here, you could buy the initial, price flip of them, like getting on top of some of them, but you'd get tangled in all these other ones. So it's like, I don't really like putting my money into something where I'm kind of all tangled up, because you can't be confident where price is going to go. But now that we're on top of this 200-day EMA, with the close being in a few hours from now, as long as price closes above this 200-day EMA, I would bid right at that level, like right, if I want to put like a horizontal right on it, right at 1310, maybe just slightly above to make sure you get filled. That's where I'd set my bids. Just because, like I said, it's been going so long, it's been accumulated for so long, you have to assume, seeing that it's been going sideways. If it kept going down and down and down, you can't assume something's getting accumulated, but if it's just going sideways, you can. Hopefully that's nice and clear and concise. So, yeah, I've been watching this one since this afternoon. I just thought it looked really similar to... Fuck, what one was it? Was it RDN? I guess it was RDN. RDN, BTC. And I like to use this compare tool. Let's put this up here. No, wrong one. That up there. This here. Fucking Christ, I'll get it eventually. So you can kind of see it has a pretty similar price pattern. If you open RDN, it's also been going sideways for so long. But it obviously has had this, and I don't know, if you just do a quick look between the two, you can just see it's been doing this kind of sideways, even very similar price action with this big up, this like smaller one. Like you see, it's literally, it's not completely identical, but it has a lot of similarities. And obviously this one has this massive uproar, which we have not yet had here on GVT. So for now, I wouldn't buy yet. You could be aggressive and buy here, but I tend to like to be a little more careful, because price could still come right back down below it, right below this 200-day EMA, and it would be still acting as resistance, and then we could potentially just go right back down, or the likelihood of us going back down is a lot higher. So we'll see what happens in a few hours from now. I'll let you guys know what's up, but initially I'd target this range high here at around 1600 sats for a quick 23%. Oh, you guys are asking questions today. Wild. Okay, would you wait for 1600 sat SR flip and GVT? No, I'd wait for the 1300 to buy, and then I'd sell close to resistance up here, and then once we flip it, then I'd re-enter again. But it's always good to buy support. Well, then I'll kind of draw it out. Buy support here, sell resistance here, because you don't know if it's going to come back down. But once it goes above and retest, that's when we get back in, and we'd want to fill our bids once again. Kind of just like Zilla, right? You want to sell the resistance or the top of the range, but then once it flips, the likelihood of it going up more is, higher, obviously. So I'll look at engine in a few minutes. So I can even mark a few. Like, every time I mark up a chart, for those who are new, I like to mark all the horizontals in advance, just to kind of get a feel for the gaps between each level, like each resistance point, I guess you could say, or where you think price will kind of have some issues on the way. And then it's not perfect science, but you can just see price is kind of fucked around or bounced within this area. It's bounced around this area, bounced at this area, and bounced at this area. So you could even go a little crazy and put them at like every point that you bounce, but it's good to obviously pick the points where price is bounced multiple times. Yeah, even here I guess wouldn't even be too bad. But so yeah, those would be our targets, and you just keep buying the flip, sell resistance, then buy the flip, or when it comes back down. So let's say it goes up, fails, comes back down, you could buy. Like, I don't know, it's just literally a continuous thing. I hope that makes sense. I don't want to feel like a broken record going over the same thing over and over again. So hopefully that's clean and clear. So that covers GVT. That's one that's on my radar. Looks pretty similar to Zil as well. As you can see, long range, big gaps between SRs. Daily MAs are flipping underneath us as support. You know, it's kind of picture perfect. Yeah, no, exactly, RR. Asked if I would put a stop below the 200-day EMA. Yeah, that's exactly it. I'd put it like... See, the thing is, you don't want to get wicked out either, right? So you don't want to be... You don't have them too tight, but you don't want to have them, like, all the way back down here at... like, I'll zoom in a bit. So, if it was me... It's actually kind of a tricky one, to be honest with you, because... A lot of times people would put their stop loss right below the massive green thrust candle they had, but obviously that's a really massive percent. Like that's you'd lose out on 17% of your portfolio, so that doesn't make sense. Next, you could do the 200-day MA, just the normal MA, but that's also quite far away. Just depends on how much you're willing to risk. 11% is pretty wide still. Yeah, no, it's kind of shitty, but honestly, you could just, I just put it a few percent below. Let's see if there's some kind of high we can base it off of. Yeah, see this, like, this is the local high that you could even base it off of, and that's 8.5%. So yeah, it's up to you really. Like usually I do a manual stop on a close below, but you guys know it can fall within that time period, if that makes sense. Like if I want to do a 4-hour close below the 200-day EMA, a 200-day EMA or whatever, 4-hour close, 1-hour close, a lot can happen in that hour or 4-hour, right? But that's kind of how I like to play. So if I were you guys, I'd probably just put it in the midpoint between this high and the 200-day EMA, around, what is that, 1250. I think that would be a completely safe stop loss right there. But this rejection wick is kind of iffy. This rejection wick we've had on the daily today, not a massive fan of that. And I don't, like I've told you guys, I don't really like to buy coins that have had a massive thrust candle above the 200-day EMA, but I'd at least start scaling in once we flip it, but I'd be a little cautious. I'd wait for a confirmed bounce on that EMA, and then like a confirmed bounce and then it's starting to move up, because that just gives you a sign that it's actually acting as support, not just like, you know, not just sitting there and irrelevant, because it could just like easily come right back down. So we'll see. So I think that covers those questions. GVT is just one of my top ones only because it looks exactly like RDN, and RDN literally identical. Let's get rid of this. Literally identical. Went sideways for around 300 days. Flipped the MAs. This one's a little bit cleaner though, right? Because we don't have a massive thrust candle to flip this EMA. It was these nice little ones, which is exactly what we like. So we'll see. But it blasted off. So we'll see. It's on my radar anyway. Need some more beer. Alright. Let's go into ENG, see what's up. Oh yeah, that's on my list. Okay, yeah. So we'll kind of clean off the chart. Look at this naked chart, see what's going on. Initially, you can see we flipped the 200-day EMA. We flipped the other MAs that I used. The only one above is the 200 MA that's starting to curl slightly down into us. But I think once we flip that, you can see even here it was rejected off of it. But I think once we flip this, then it'll be go time. We might have a bit of issue getting above it, but it might come down, and then this might come up. And when that happens, when MAs cross like that, we tend to see a pop in price. But anyway, this one initially caught my eye because it's just sitting on this EMA. It's honestly godly. It works out way too often. I can't really tell you why, because I don't even know why the 200 EMA is so overpowered, but it's something you should definitely have on your chart if you do not already. So we'll go ahead and set some horizontals real quick, just to see what we're working with. Yeah, honestly, if you wanted to play aggressive on this one, you could just bid here, exit on a close below, and you could even put a hard stop here at this MA down here. That's still honestly pretty fucking wide. Yeah, 10% stop. It's a little unfortunate. Sometimes you need to have a bit of wider stops like that to ensure you don't get wicked out. But yeah, ENG looks quite good. Let's see what your question was. Between 200 EMA and 200 MA, holding the 200 EMA for a week or so. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it did lose it for a bit and then it reclaimed it, which is obviously promising to see. If it fails again, then I probably wouldn't go near it anytime soon, just because if something fails twice like that, it obviously doesn't have a ton of strength behind it, and you know, likely won't see too much upside, at least in the near future. Plus, we have a million other opportunities out there, so why waste your time on something that's mediocre? So yeah, even if you want to play a little more passive on this one, I'd wait for the 200 MA flip and the flip of this SR point, just because, you know, with resistance being right above us basically, you know, and the downside is, you know, equally as bad, I'd probably wait for a flip of this and then game time. So that covers ENG, I think, quite well. Or, well, not to hype myself up, but I think that's just a standard standard review of ENG. So let's see what else I got on my list. I've been skimming this constantly throughout today. Yeah, like, honestly, these major coins are acting like literal dog shit the past few days. The past few weeks I've been making a good amount of money on them, but like look at this. Fucking Cardano. People are trying to short it. I even had a short open on it. It's holding for now. I don't know why, like who's buying this up, and I don't know if it's just like a last stand before it free falls. Same with a lot of these coins. But like even for example, like it's pretty, like I don't know, it's hard to say. I think it's a little challenging to see a reclaim of all these levels, because we have the SRs in the way, we have the MAs coming down on multiple time frames. Really, yeah, Exo's gonna have a field day. Yeah, he's actually a friend of mine who's like, I think he's a very smart guy, but he's quite the bear. But well, I don't know. I've never seen him in a bull scenario anyway. He's always a bear with crypto. But he has been right before a handful of times, but he's been screaming bear the whole way up. So, you know, it is what it is. But anyway, we'll see. Yeah. Oh yeah, I saw Exo's post actually about Cardano going down. I don't know if I shared that with you guys. Yeah, so I don't know, man. It does look quite bearish. I can definitely agree with that. The hourly just closed actually. So nothing about this screams bullish to me. Like if I had to choose, I'd say we'd go down, but I'm not rushing into shorting anything. Who's my friend Trader Exo? I'll pull up his thing. Fuck off. Trader Exo, where are you, little fucker? Yeah, worth a follow. I don't know if you follow him on Twitter. He is an extremely smart guy. I've learned a lot from him, and I've learned well, he obviously helps give, yeah, he's great. He gives at least a good bear perspective, but exactly like we think, it just doesn't look too hot. He doesn't use MAs, which I noticed not too long ago. He just trades strictly price action, but he has a good point. Like, it lost this point that was respected for so long, starting to fall. We're about to hit well, we're gonna get to the midpoint anytime now. Yeah, and then it looks quite ugly. Pretty big, like pretty far way down. I can't even fucking speak. It's been a long day, but look at this. We've been pumping nonstop since that massive fall. So I think at least some kind of correction, even, you know, somewhat down, is definitely due. Like, I'll delete everything I have for now. Yeah, it looks like we're gonna do for some kind of healthy, like it's a healthy pullback. It's not like, oh shit, what's going on? I think it's due for some kind of correction, even if it's like maybe down to this previous high where it worked here before and um, it was here at resistance once. It would be nice to come back down and go sideways, but yeah, no, his ranges are bomb. Like I'm trying to even implement my own, like I'm trying to implement some of his work into mine just because it's like it's fucking art, some of it. So like look at that, it's so simple, literally so simple, and it prints these like top looking formations and it's hitting an SR point. Like fuck it, it looks like it needs to flip that or it's gonna like doom all the way back down to that point we marked. So so yeah, we'll see. Just gonna take a look at Bitcoin, see what's going on. Yeah, more bullshit as usual. Yeah, we'll see what happens. A lot of walls getting moved, a lot of walls getting put back on. It's literally fuckery and a half. So yeah, fuck that. Look at this shit. It's all bullshit. If you zoom in a bit, they're just literally moving the walls constantly over and over and over again. Like these walls are live, right? They're just fucking with people. So I don't know. It's a no-fly zone for me, really, on these futures coins. I haven't touched them today, so. And I probably won't until we have some kind of. I think we need a big move, to be honest with you. I think Bitcoin needs some kind of big move in some direction, and that will finally allow true breathing across the board. But I don't know. We'll see what happens. Let me just look into a few more with you guys just to. QSP is moving really well. But they're all the setups, guys. Like for you watching, they're all pretty goddamn similar. You set your bottoms with your horizontals for these ones that have gone sideways for so long. Like you zoom out on the daily, you can see it's gone sideways for 300 days. The daily MAs are reset. We've flipped the top of the range, marked in the green here. You could buy the retest of that range if you want to, and sell the resistance up here. It's literally the same setup on all of them. That's why they're on my watch list. GBT, same thing, ranging. Probably going to flip the range and keep going. QSP, flipping the range. Probably going to keep going. Len's a bit of a different one. This one's just fuckery and a half, but I thought that it looked good on the 12-hour. Yeah, well, fuck, look at that clean retest of this. So this was our recent high, and it retested it perfectly right here. That's literally all you had to do. Just bid that retest, and you would have been good. Now it's probably going to keep going up, but a little late now on Lend. Let's see what else. Nano's hitting the resistance level I'd marked, which is pretty interesting to see. It's been going sideways for a long time. I'll even put that there. Oops, wrong one. And it's probably been about 300 days. See, all of them 300 to 350 days just sideways. Like no one's trading this, no one's making much money off of this. Whales are filling their bags. MAs look like dog shit. Up until recently where they got flipped. Look at this. Flipped perfectly, held. Now we're hitting resistance. This is not a buying point, this is a selling point. Because we rejected off this level before multiple times, it's probably going to happen again. And if not, then hey, now it's newfound support. If price before the daily close today, let's say comes up here, closes, you can bid the retest here, and boom. Then you just, set your sells up here. You could even set one here at this high we had here, and easy as cake. Let's do it. So that's a quick, like 19% there, and I don't know what's this, like another 20-30%. Oh shit, nice 34%. So it's all straightforward, guys. So the daily MAs are flipped. We're flipping the top of the range. You can zoom in on the 4-hour MAs, but if the daily look good, the 4-hour tend to look good also. And obviously the 1 hour as well. So they're all flipped support. They all look beautiful. It would have been the perfect entry right here at this MA retest, but we fucking missed it. So cheers to us. But we'll see what happens. See if we can flip this range, and we could potentially buy there. Developer announcements. I let Ricky deal with all that stuff. I don't trade anything based off of upcoming news. As we've seen with, Verge. I'll go over Verge in a minute, just because I really like the Verge setup. I think that the news could put the rocket boosters underneath us. But with stuff like, I don't know, let's go over fucking Look at Theta. Look at this dog shit. They had the news come out up here, and it fucking died. Look at Theta. It's dead. Dog shit. Fucking doom. So I definitely take any news with a grain of salt, and I think it's a buy the hype, sell the news type of thing. Like I think, like let's say with Verge, I'd have to look up when the actual halving date is. You might know what that is, but seeing the chart looks good now, I would trade the chart and then sell probably right before the halving, just because I don't know how the market's going to react. It could have a positive or negative impact. Well, yeah, it died to futures listings, but also at that Google news, right? And then Matic, same thing. Matic had, I don't even know what the fucking news was, and Matic just died. No one's talked about it since. It just kind of fucking puked up. Sitting here on the daily MAs, like, I don't know. I just take, like, I do respect the fundamental side. I hope that crypto can grasp on to some, like, big companies and start evolving, you know, into an actual like proper community, not ones that get chopped up by these dildos that are like fucking us over constantly. I'd rather have nice healthy money flow in. I don't know at what rate we're doing that now, but yeah, you can blame Binance for whatever you want. Binance is a bit of a fucking cunt when it comes to that kind of stuff, I know, but you know what I mean, right? Like I'd rather buy the hype and sell the news, because it just seems to yeah, short ONT. I thought there was something else, wasn't it? Oh, Kava. Kava is getting listed on futures. So fucking once that goes live, you might as well like 3 to 5x short it just for shits and giggles, seeing that everything else has fallen since it's gone listed. So I think, oh yeah, look at land. Look at this cocksucker, guys. Fuck. I had it listed. I wasn't home. My apologies. But if we bought this retest, that would have been like fucking nice 9% hoot. Like we all want 9% out to our portfolio. Yeah, if Zil gets listed, is it getting listed? If it does, that's the easiest short opportunity of a fucking lifetime. Theta did the same thing. Theta ran so fucking hard because of all this random hype. And then if you just shorted this fucking slightly, boom, rich as fuck. Yeah, what the fuck? Oh, I'm gonna short Zil. Fuck it. You might as well. When something's up this much without any news and it's the biggest gainer for, like, look at this, 300% since the bottom. I think you'd be a little fucking dumb to start longing this on futures. I could be wrong. Maybe it'll go for one last pop to fuck people that are shorting. But in my opinion, I'd start scaling into shorts. Fuck it. Like, if Binance has done this so many times before and it's had such a run, I don't know. I think I'm convinced that it's gonna fall, but I'm not. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, today's the final pump. Yeah, this fucking, look at this. This is, mark my words, I'm gonna mark it on my chart. Final pump. Let's see if I'm right or wrong. So that's just, if Zell's listing on futures today, I don't know. I'm gonna leave this there and leave that there and see how that ages. That's kind of funny. But I'll go over a few more these setups with you guys. Hopefully everything's clear. I don't even know who's watching. I don't know who's you know, if anyone has any questions or wants any clarity or like is like, what the fuck's this guy talking about? Well, hey, just let me know so I can work on it. Please let it be listed on futures. Yeah, if it actually is, I haven't looked, but I take your word for it. So yeah, KNC, I've been preaching for time. For those new members, I'm sorry you couldn't get in earlier. Hopefully you did get in at some point. I think, yeah, you were here before it broke out. I preached about it for so goddamn long. Could have bought here at the SR we had marked. 1, 2, like, I guess you could kind of consider this a bounce, but 1, 2, 3 bounces here. You could have bid there. Could have bid this, like in the daily MAs like we did. We definitely got in here. I know I did. I bought a lot here. And then the breakout and retest. You could have bought the retest of the MAs. Kind of figured I wouldn't do a full retest, at least on the daily. And yeah, it's moving up pretty goddamn healthily. MAs are starting to curl up. Smash through TP1 right here. Oops, that's a massive box. Smash through TP1 there. Fucking massive Chad green candles. We'll see what happens. Take more profit there, and then once we're past that point, let's just check where our next, zoom out a bit more, sorry. And then there's really, honestly, not a lot of resistance. Like the next level is up here at 12669. So that's another 26% once we get past that 100 mark. So I'm gonna keep my eye on it. Maybe if we flip this 100 sat level, I'll consider buying some more. The bear market BTSD is honestly a thing. Like I'm always concerned that we're gonna see a massive pullback, but honestly, if we just keep buying the flips as they come, it's a really good way to make money. Like, let's say it comes back down here, you could buy that retest, sell up here, wait for the flip, buy the retest, and literally just do that over and over. Like, that's what a lot of traders do, and once you get the hang of it, it's pretty straightforward, and you can make a lot of money doing it. Whew. I'm fucking out of breath from chatting. If you could, like, can you guys, like, give me some questions or some shit? Give, like, alleviate some of my talking for a minute. Let me drink some beer. Oh yeah, I gotta look at Virgin in a minute. I'll do that next. Think buy, sell 50% of stack. So, yeah, I'll let you guys type it out. Just drink your beer. Yeah, I just don't want to take up too much of your guys' time. I hate doing that. I remember, I think it was my first stream was like a little over 2 hours, and I don't want to like, I don't know. I don't want to take up too much of your guys' time. I feel like I repeat myself a lot, and I don't want to just, you know, waste time by saying blah 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 10 times over and over and over again. So I think it's good to get to the point, but like I said, if you want clarity, then I really don't mind like giving you guys like some expansion on what I have to say. But DNT is another one. The volume's kind of shit. That was what really turned me off from it. I would have posted an official setup, but that's an iffy one. But anyway, it's literally the exact same thing. Went sideways for a long time. Daily MAs are reset underneath us. I was telling you guys to get in here because it was building this wedge for 2 weeks. That wasn't a coincidence. That doesn't just happen by chance. Usually, sometimes it could fail. But honestly, like, I did buy some here. I should have bought more, but the volume was shit. But even now, if the daily closes here, and you buy the 200 EMA retest at 70 sats if it comes, you could even just buy the close, like half at the close, in 2 hours, and then the rest on the retest of 70 sats. You have a nice gap up to the top of the range at like 32% up. So I think that's a pretty decent opportunity. But like I said earlier, with something that's gone sideways for so long, once again 300 days, whales aren't trying to get rid of their bags here at this like mid-range. Like they're trying to fucking blast this shit off. Like they want to send it up, maybe not to all-time highs because that's pretty fucking like that's insane. But even if you can get like a few 100% out of it, for both them and us, that's great. Well, yeah, exactly, yeah. And I should have like I did buy some, and like I did tell you guys all about it, so I'm at least glad I told you guys about it. But just personal wise, I should have like bought some more probably, but like I said, hindsight, you know, I'm not going to kick myself. I'm just going to like learn from it. So I'm at least going to buy this retest. This is one that's kind of on the top of my radar, just because there's a nice gap up till the next SR, and then as you can see, look at this shit. Look at this shit. Like there's like these massive red free falls are exactly what we want, because there's no resistance in the way. It just fucking fell with no bids to get tangled up in here. So when price reaches it again, it's probably just going to clear the gap. And the gaps are quite large between each level. So we'll see. That's how I'm playing it. But they're all pretty much the same setup, guys. I hope you guys understand it, but it's just what's working right now. You find the ones that have been ranging a long time, daily MAs reset, and starting to flip some levels. Like it's easy as that. So BLZ, same thing, gone sideways a long time. It was a bit of a downtrend, to be honest with you. I can't really say that was sideways, because it did, like, it went sideways for this part, and then, sorry, lost it down here, reclaimed it, lost it again, it kind of puked a bit. But then once I started reclaiming these levels around here and the MAs here, that's a good indication to at least get your eyes on it. Maybe not just hop in right away, but the daily MAs are now all underneath us, curling up hard, which is phenomenal. You want them to curl up and just follow price closely as support, and start, just filling these levels. It's as easy as that. So bid the retest, exit on a close below. Wouldn't be overly surprised if it maybe. I'd already lost it once, so we don't really want it to lose it again. So I'm kind of, yeah. BLZ, I hope it just goes for continuation. It had a retest earlier today, right here, if you guys can see that. It kind of did a bit of a retest here. It might honestly just continue on. See a lot of people talking about it on Twitter too, so yeah, but the upside's pretty fucking massive, so that's another one add to your radar. I think it's kind of getting repetitive at this point, but same thing. Sideways, flipping MAs, fucking monster upside. Look at that shit. That was a really bad circle. But really big gaps between levels, which is exactly what we want. Because let's say we buy down here at 1628, we sell up here at 2831. Fuck, look at that. That's an easy 75% to our portfolio. Like, fuck, who doesn't want that? Easy. So that's how I'm looking at that. They're all the same thing, guys. Look, sideways, flipping MAs, starting to move. LTO, a little different just because there's not a lot of price action, but the flipping of the MAs is what really got me, and the less price action there is, the less resistance, because nobody's had a chance to set their bids and asks between these levels, like, other than this minimal time who's on the exchange. So, like, there'll just be very little, like, in the way to like, to stop us on the way up. So, like I was saying earlier, bid the 200 day EMA retest, and fuck, you can just hold on to it, ride that up another 75%. Bit of resistance here, just because you can see it was stopped here a bit, and it was stopped here a bit, and it was around listing price as well. So you might see a little bit of like, it might kind of bonk around a bit, but should move up nicely as long as things stay calm. This is one of my favorites, to be honest, just because, like I said, there's little resistance in the way. MAs look good. Like, fuck it, it's pretty sexual, to be honest. I think it's in my top 5 for the current watch list. Fun's kind of okay. It lost the wedge down here, reclaimed it, and kind of blasting through. I don't really like that. I like when everything's respected nicely, but I don't know, just another one that's been going sideways a long time. MA's looking good. Might pop. It looks really similar to... Fuck, what one was it? Oh, I can't remember which one it was. There was another one that looked exactly like this that already did pop a few percent. But there's so many opportunities, guys, right? It's like, it's pretty hard for me to tell you guys which ones to buy because they all look good for various reasons, you know? But I also, like, I don't know, I know some of you aren't that TA literate, like, you don't know how to chart that well, and you're like, oh, I don't know where to set my levels and all that kind of stuff. But if you guys need my help on anything, like, literally just message me at any time. I'll always get back to you. I always respond. I'll always do what I can to teach you and, grow you as a trader. So yeah, that's kind of my little rant, I guess. But let's see what else. Wabi flipping the MAs, hopefully gonna pop. It's getting through this 200 MA, which it was struggling with earlier today. Looks fucking awesome for more upside. Like, look at these. They've all bottomed. They've all gone sideways a long time. MAs are flipped. Like, look, fuck. This is clear skies. Oh shit, that's not what I want to. These fucking clear skies up here. Fucking, let's go. Let's go for a rip. Let's hit these targets. Get like 500% gains on it. But everything looks promising, guys. It's pretty fucking awesome, and I'm really excited. Anchor, wasn't the one I was thinking of that looks like fun, but honestly it kind of does. Kind of just building the wedge right at the daily MAs. If you guys, I hope that makes sense. There's triangle here. Could buy the breakout retest. I was talking with Balaj about it earlier, both on Twitter and Discord. It does look quite good. Like, I don't know, it could be a simple play. I wouldn't buy right now unless you got the bottom of the wedge. Like, if you got wicked like at the bottom of it, because you're kind of just buying into resistance at this point. But even if you oh, there's already a price thing here. That's a clean 28% to this point that we've ticked so many times, like bang, 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 bang. So you can kind of assume that we'll bang it at least like a few more times. That's a nice clean 28%. Like fuck, it's pretty straightforward. And I think guys, once we start flipping this shit, oof, there's fucking nothing stopping us. Nothing at all. It's just this kind of trouble area that we've been struggling with. But over in this section, if you guys can see my mouse, it didn't flip it here, I think, just because you can see these MAs here are just looking fucked. Like, they're all spread out. They're all, like, we're tangled in it. It looks like literal dog. But here, clean, underneath us, tight, like fucking exactly what we want. Yeah, you're welcome, man. Hopefully I didn't ramble on too much. And hopefully you can hop in again next time. I appreciate you stopping in for sure. And I'll be wrapping it up soon. I don't want to take up too much of your guys' time. Once it closes above the 200 MA, are there other criteria we can use to decide whether to enter or not? Well, it's always nice, like, yeah, I do get what you're saying. Other criteria, you guys know I trade mainly based on, you could draw trend lines that look good. The other MAs, how far away they are. It's, like I said, it's good to set your horizontal levels. So I'll see if I can find anything interesting on fun. I don't know, on that initial loss, I would have, yeah, no, it's honestly pretty fucking ugly, because, like you said, it kind of has been fucking around on it a couple of times. And usually once I lose something once, I take a step back from it, and won't touch it again anytime soon. Like, once it lost it the initial time, I would have taken a step back. There's nothing more I think you could have done, seeing that you did have a plan. You bought on the flip of the EMA, and obviously wanted more upside. And once it lost it, I would have exited. Maybe been pissed when price started going back up here, but then I don't FOMO, or I rarely FOMO. It's not a good habit. It's good to take a step back from something you've lost on once. But once you see a wedge forming, and even if it's tapping this SR level, you could bid. Like, the more confluence you have, the better, obviously, right? So if it's tapping an SR point and your diagonal, that usually is good enough for me. I try not to buy simply based on one thing looking right. It's usually having the whole formula, right? So by whole formula, I know I've said it like 10 times. The whole formula having something that's bottoms, something that's starting to uptrend, starting to flip the daily MAs, and the 4-hour MAs. If we start losing the 4-hour, I tend to start to look to cut. Just because the 4-hour and the 1-hour react obviously more quickly, right? So once it starts turning sour on the lower ones, that can be a sign that the higher ones are going to start looking like shit too, and that's usually when I start to look to like de-risk a bit on my positioning. Hopefully that kind of shed some light. But if you have any other examples, or I don't know, anything a little more specific, I can try and go into it. But the only things I personally trade off of are diagonals, trend lines, MAs and EMAs. Sometimes I check volume, like I said with DNT, but I take that with a really, really big grain of salt, just because, like ADH said, price, like the charts attack, the charts bring price. No, the charts don't bring price. Charts bring volume. It's been a long day, guys. Hopefully my random babbling makes sense. Yeah, no worries, man. Fuck, there's been a handful of you in here. Well, let's go over Verge. I'm gonna probably hop off in a minute. It's a mad nice day outside, so I might as well make the most of it. But I want to make sure I answer all your guys' questions. Yeah, and we can even elaborate next week. Thankfully, we have a handful of streams we can go over whatever you guys want. But Verge has worked out fucking remarkably. The same formula as always, guys. Set my horizontals, See that it's ranging for a long time. Started to flip the MAs. See it's building a wedge. You could buy the breakout, which was a massive fucking breakout. Hasn't given us much of a retest, which shows clear strength. I was bidding in here on the consolidation under or at the 200 day EMA. It's never bad to you know, bid if it's clearly consolidating and wanting to push up. If it's bouncing and rejecting hard, you obviously don't want to buy. But if it's holding there and looks ready for a move up, there's never harm in buying at least part of a position in there. You might not want to go all in, but it's always good to get at least some of a position if everything is like adding up properly. But Verge, I've said literally a million times that it's one of my favorite as well. Getting rejected though at this horizontal level I had marked. We'll see what happens. It might even come back down for that retest we're looking for. We'll see what happens, but volume's okay. It's also known as the Pornhub coin, and Pornhub's fucking awesome, so you can't get mad about that. Big gaps between SRs. Once we get through this kind of entanglement here, like once you get past the range, guys, price has a lot. Is it like, I don't know, price can move a lot easier typically, because obviously all the thick bids and asks that are in the way from all this like local price action are cleared and out of the way. Yeah, I know I need to look at some momentum indicators. Yeah, Dimitri started doing it again. Are they on his charts? No. Well, the ones he's been sending me, he's been adding momentum indicators. I don't know, like, I know what I do. Like, I know. Oh, fucking Raven, you cocksucking bitch. Fuck you. I know what I do typically works quite well, but you are right. It's always good to have that extra confluence. But like, if it's a momentum indicator, I've heard a lot of mixed reviews on them. I don't know what to do about Raven, to be honest with you guys. I haven't dumped my position yet. It did flip it and then fucking monster rejection here. I have no idea why. I know it's the same market maker as Matic. I know that they're accumulating. I know that like their plan is for us to go up, but I don't want to fuck us with opportunity cost here. So we'll see what happens. I'm gonna wait till, like I said, I don't want to lose 211, and I don't want to lose it on the high time frame. If it loses it briefly, so be it. I'll wait till the daily close, see what that looks like. Kind of take action from there. Yeah. So yeah, going back to your momentum indicators, Dimitri's been talking about them, and he said well, I think he'd be willing to go over some of them with me. So yeah, maybe I can dive into that. I've honestly been extremely busy, not gonna lie to you guys. I've been mad busy with dealing with, you know, the current positioning plus all of this real life stuff I'm going on about, but I'm obviously going to keep trying to grow myself so I can teach you guys at the same time. So I'll see. Yeah, well, see, that's the thing, right? Like, I don't want a momentum indicator to scare me out of position just because, oh, this, like, I know that with a lot of massive moves, especially obviously the massive up moves, it's going to say, oh, overbought, overbought, oversold, oversold, and it's like, well, fuck, I've heard that they can be extremely, like, irrelevant, so, I don't know. Yeah, you might be right, I don't know, Raven might die, I'm going to keep sticking to the plan. It's a little disappointing. It literally looked perfect on every time frame. Yeah, starting to lose the 1 hour MAs. Hasn't lost them all completely. 4 hour MAs. Oops. Struggling to hold on to as well. And daily MAs also on the last strand. So you cocksucker. Yeah. So we'll see. I'll update that after the stream. Maybe I'll see. Like I said, I'll wait till the daily close. See what happens. Yeah, but I think that goes over a lot of the big ones. MDA was the other one. Fuck, I don't know why I'm getting cocked. All the other calls I make have been phenomenal. Not phenomenal, they've been good. And then the ones I do with this account are like going to shit, so it's fucking irritating, but all I need is one decent move and I'll make that all up. But last one's BQX. Look at that. Clean 200-day EMA retest. We'll see what happens. I set all my levels. I think it's just waiting for the remainder to follow up. But it's looking, this is another one that I really like as well. So I think that wraps everything up. I think I've gone through my whole list almost, actually. There's a few that I didn't really touch on, but they're kind of mediocre. Like ICX is okay. Have this trend line, broke out, retesting it, kind of holding on. Daily MAs are getting tight where price is, so we might see a pop. I don't really know. Bitcoin's still being a bit of a bitch, um, making these alts not act properly. I have no fucking clue why Raven isn't just mooning, but whatever. We'll figure it out, guys. We'll make some more money. Well, fuck. I hope to make a shitload of money this month. But yeah, I think that goes over everything. I'm gonna wrap things up, I think. If you guys want me to elaborate, I don't even know if I think it might just be ADH. I know you're still on here. If you want me to check anything out for you all, I can dive in real quick. Otherwise, I'm gonna finish my beer and work on some household stuff and what is this? Lol. Okay. All right. Cool. Well, I'll talk to you guys later. For anyone chiming in, appreciate you watching. It makes this a lot easier for me to, I really, really appreciate when you guys hop in because I would much rather answer your guys' questions, go over any topics you're interested in. No worries, guys. I actually do enjoy streaming, and I think I'm getting a better hang of it. And yeah, we'll keep diving into more stuff as the weeks progress. So I'll catch you guys later.